Thank you very, very much for coming out this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're home safe.
Now, the next item, well, I'm going to give a moment while everybody leaves and doesn't want to stay. Would someone like to make a motion that we reopen this public hearing?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, before we get into it, you all have in your packet, or you've got it in your mailbox, communication from Doris Obramsky regarding information that she found on Google. Okay, is there anybody else who would like from the public to talk about the proposed plan?
I almost feel like I should jump.
No, that's fine. No, you don't need to. We brought the chief of police here this evening.
You want to bring the chief up first?
Pardon?
You want to bring the chief up first?
I'm going to do that. If you don't have anything to say, maybe you want to say something after he speaks.
Yes, I would like to hear you.
Okay, well, so what I'd like to do is ask the chief to talk about the approach he took and whatnot, and based on his experience, what he's come up with. So Chief, if you could just go to the mic, state your name and your job.
My name is Dennis Marshall, the Chief of Police Town of Goshen. I was asked to just basically to put together where certain stop signs should be placed in Hamiltonian Park. So myself and my sergeant went out, we identified the intersections that are probably in need of some sort of traffic control, because the only two traffic control devices that exist in Hamiltonian Park at this point are the stop signs at the main entrances. Now, there's pros and cons to wanting stop signs. The only thing a stop sign does is it assigns a right-of-way to the person approaching the intersection. That's the only thing a stop sign's purpose is. To offset the need for a stop sign, most people, you're going to be using more gas. If you stop at one point, you got to go to another point. There are 12 locations in the development that were looked at. That doesn't necessarily mean that all those intersections have to have a stop sign. Some of them could bear a yield sign, where if there's a proper sight distance, then it would allow motorists not to have to slow down to a complete stop and then continue through. But there's also a tort liability that could fall to the town in two respects. One, the absence of a stop sign can throw a liability on the town if there's an injury of a pedestrian or an accident at that particular location. Then, if there is a stop sign at the location, the liability falls on the town. That one, it has to be properly maintained. Somebody can get hurt on the actual structure that's in place there. So, there's a lot of reasons for stop signs, and there's a lot of reasons that people don't like stop signs. A lot of people in the development are probably not. It's been many years. They've never had stop signs in their development, but there is a liability associated with not having them in the proper location. We did a study over in Arcadia, and in Arcadia you have a lot more residents in that development, and you have a lot of probably teenage drivers that, if the stop sign is in place, they know that they're going to come to the particular intersection. They're at least going to slow down at that intersection. When there's an absence of any traffic control, if the speed limit in Hamiltonian Park is 30 miles an hour, who's to say that that individual isn't going to go through that intersection at 30 miles an hour? I haven't had much input from the residents. We don't have a lot of accidents because of the lack of stop signs in that development. But I think if there are people that are going to complain that there aren't signs erected there, that their concerns have to be addressed why there shouldn't be. So, we have a new speed trailer that we just received from a grant, and what we can do with that to further the study is put it in some of the critical areas where there are concerns, where there are lack of stop signs or yield signs, and see what the speeds are going through there. We don't write a lot of tickets in the development, and it seems that most people are self-policing themselves. They know they live in the community, and like I think you made a comment that, you know, you generally would make a comment to somebody if they were speeding through the development, you know. It's up for discussion. I mean, there's a cost involved with the erection and the, you know, implementing the stop signs. Certainly up to the citizens, I think, if they want it, but the town also has to think about the liability issue involved. Yes, sir.
I just have a question. Can you identify, I mean, if you follow what you're saying, and I think I understand what you're saying, and there's a liability. Now, there's been no serious accident forever, right? But if you use that logic, that, well, there's a life, it could be, that almost mandates that we have a stop sign or some traffic device on every corner in the town, every intersection.
Almost.
If you're going to use that logic, you got to put it
Anytime there's a
everywhere.
through road and there isn't, well, what would happen if you didn't have a traffic control device at 207 in Grayville?
Oh,
You know?
yeah, but that's, you know, but your logic says we have to put one on every corner. If we really follow that, then you're worried about liability.
Well, as a police officer, I would say, you know, it depends on the, you know, the situation and the danger element that presents itself at that intersection.
Well, I would agree, and that's why I wanted to question the value of the need of them in Tony Park when there is no history of problem.
Well, but the history, you know, the first time, then it becomes history.
That's the same for every
Right.
corner in the village, every corner in the town.
Okay, Dan?
I got a question for the chief. Chief, with putting the stop signs in, do you foresee a propensity of people to kind of speed up from one stop sign to the next stop sign to get out of the community?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's running late, you know, if they have to stop at a stop sign, historically, they're going to probably speed up between the 2 points, you know. But without that stop sign or other traffic control device there, you know, what happens if somebody's, you know, walking their children or something? There are no sidewalks where people can, you know, so the pedestrian traffic uses the roadway in Hamiltonian Park. I know that miles an hour, you know, there's nothing you can do to that individual to stop him from going through that intersection at 30 miles an hour.
Chief, along with that last thought that you said there, nothing to stop the person from going through that intersection with a stop sign there.
Right.
What I was thinking was that if we got people walking through the community and they see that stop sign, the pedestrian that's walking through the community might expect that person to stop at the stop sign. And they might get somebody in the community that's so used to going through that stop sign that they don't stop. Or
Sure.
the worst, they just slow down but go through it. So I was stop sign for granted and going through it, and the